In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and this video, I left Montreal, went somewhere else, and because whole family they was just like the smallest kids in the house, and for nothing they're in jail. They went from my mom and me, and they just went buying a house, their first house, and not very bad. They're very bad. I mean, they're in a jail. They don't know how to do the minimal thing, in my opinion. Not even eat, not even do nothing. They are constantly in this house. They never painted for 20 years, and I'm a painter. They're in a jail. They don't really have any joie de vivre. Which, if it was for God or Jesus sacrifices, that's okay. But no, not even. And they like really oppression. It's a form of possession. They oppress, and that's it. There's no blessing much. Um, so from the skies, and we guessing what? But no, it's not easy. It's not nice to say. In this video, I made a little collage of. First of all, I want to say two visions and what I did, and you're gonna see it after. So this presentation, you scroll down. I'm gonna add different points of part of. I'm trying to do a video again, but less long, though it's like 40 minutes. But you got a lot of things in this. It's like 6 days. You got some vision. I try to win in sport, but I do one. I talk about one specific, but because it came in the news later on, that same thing. It was working for the sport, but it came to happen in a political field that I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about this, and I'm talking about I'm teaching. Last night I had a dream that it was in the dark because of a movie I made, and I talk about the two lions when you die, rich and poor. And actually the sheet was in dark because I made that video in the dark, and I see a sheet that was split in two. And this is I believe this is a prophetic. Well, this was a message to at least publish this one. So I started with this one, but then I packed them all. Did a little bit of humor talking about something that I usually do, and it's not well accepted in this world of talking about your mistakes that are teachings, mistakes that are almost permanently hurting you, uh, but because you're not ashamed of them, because we're in the spirit, we're not in the flesh. It's not receiving well. It's almost like taboo. Like it's like false, but who else is to blame but people who haven't taught us these important things? And if me as an artist, I wanted to take the weight of the world or be a mirror of the world, look at the world, how broke it is, you will start to be broken. That's why it's important to be ahead and not a bitch, not following with a check of government. That's a curse. Last year I was free. I did a thing for Trump. I'm not gonna talk again. He never paid. That's just in genes. He never paid this guy, and he likes to keep money in his pants. But that's private. But he has caused many wrong to not pay some people, and I know he knows that about himself. So after this, I came back here. I cut that check, man. And 8 months later, in Toronto, Jewish cash, that city is run. And I'm not having nothing against Jewish, actually. I always said it's like Maximilian Kolbe. I would be ready to give my life for one. So I'm not racist, or whatever they call it, xenophobe or xenophobia or something like this. No, anti-Semitic, absolutely not. It's through them that we receive Christ, and always told myself, even Judeo-Christian, before anything else. And so I'm waiting for the return of Elijah also. And the point is that prophet of the Most High of Israel, but I believe in Jesus Christ. And if somebody can follow the law, even better. but the law of Jesus also first, and it doesn't abolish one of those. It's just fortifying, but it's the same. Who really respect Jesus and His law will probably to the perfection. He won't even need the laws of God. He will find himself. God will teach them almost. Well, it's good to read the Bible, the scriptures. And in this movie, I'm talking about something personal. I was saying that nobody told me about adult circumcision, and a lot of things like this that people important things are not talked, and a lot of things that you learn that are fights, social fights, betrayals, things like this, that the devil trying to hit you. If he knows that if you're successful, even if you're an artist or something, he knows that because you good heart, you will eventually talk about the truth. Or because even atheists, you were not brought to the church, you start to work like anybody, you have chosen artist, and God lets you like this, and eventually you will find God, maybe even as a set artist, and convert yourself and help other artists. And I think that's why God told me in a dream, as my older brother Christian, he said, why do you think He didn't let you touch with this music when He was always, oh, hey, you're gonna break this, you're gonna, and it just get into your head, man, that things were even started, I'm telling you, about in teens. They will break alone just because he's telling me all the time, you're gonna break the speakers. How are you gonna break the speakers? By putting the level up. And actually you would go and just thinking, oh, is it gonna break? And suddenly, and there's no sense. So things like this, like the tape, for 20 years we had it, it's an elastic, and it's boom, and alone. But always like this, that it puts you in the mind that even if you wouldn't touch something, I'm pretty sure it happened. Did you touch this? Did you touch this? And just crap, and they still have that mind. So I even had to left the place, and I was about to go find somebody piecework painting, 2-3 grand, putting the things together, probably priesthood, paying them 600, and I guess the 600 came one day maybe too late. They knew I was meeting tomorrow, and they didn't say, because they saw how much good I changed and by forgiveness, but boom, 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 I had to force myself to not. And mom saying, my brother said, oh, it's almost, I just like, I had enough. And they don't know how to eat, they don't know how to clean. Like time I just cleaned the lights, the dust. Hey, what are you doing? I haven't cleaned maybe for years. Like things like, and eventually the house comes separate, like you gotta do the roof, the floor. Things are not important. I'm pretty sure you got your own problems with people that you cannot close the door, because that will be not Christian, like your family, but it's sufferings, and you gotta pray for them. Yeah, you have to let that door open, but they bring you down. And I just couldn't, because of fragile health. It might be not an excuse, but I'm telling you, I'm closing it. Last time I did, my mom got sick, 2 years. I told them, don't call if you're dying, don't do this, I won't answer you. I didn't even say this time, you're in God's hand. I'm telling you, man, she tried to kill herself, and my mom would always be happy. I was like, because of my art, I didn't do nothing. My brother and mom starting to have no friends like me. But me, I got sick along the way. Them, no. I faked the craziness to get the welfare jump back then in Quebec, because somebody influenced me, a cheap writer. But me, I was great, but he was great. We're talking about French writers, not French Canadian now. 20 years later, people, because of Muslim, they're trying to talk like French in France, in Montreal, French Canadian. And me, actually, I'm going back to the French Canadian route, not in writing, but in the heart and like friendship. That's fine. And actually, they're doing the contrary. So well, this is what happens when you don't really care about the truth. You gotta be invested about the truth. If it means you're gonna get punched 20 times, like God showed me Patrick Roy, now I'm putting all those visions together. But if you find the truth, and the devil knows that, he will try to hurt you, and that happens. Maybe your parents even divorce. The devil sends a woman to tempt your father like me, and somebody then sees them and report it, and then the report, your mom jumps or gets mad with reason, but then they split and things like this, and then you suffer. And then the mother, because you're the young children, another devil comes and puts in your bed, and maybe you were called to save billions. There's never an excuse, because we can all change right now and be perfect. I can ask God, let me fly for you, let me be perfect, I forgive everybody. And to restart, you got a forgiveness. But right now, man, right now, I gotta take a place, so I'm not ready. I gotta be strong. She left already a message. I said to not call. Maybe she was think I'm in Montreal, but I said too many chances, too many, like God said 77 times. Okay, but now even to hear the voice would hurt me. Is enough, because those decisions, when they think like, oh, go out for no reason, or go this or go that, to pick energy, putting certain down, that's not a good way to think. Family, you lose one. I was bringing food on that table all the time, even now, and they're freaking out by eating. You need to eat to produce. You need to eat to not be in shit. You need to eat to stay awake. You need to eat to be healthy, right? And they don't get that. They don't get that. They don't. Maybe it's their goddamn medication, which makes your belly and slow your system down. You know, I was faking this. Now they both on medication. I never had a burnout. Never nothing. They did. One time I went to the hospital because my broken nose, I couldn't eat, and I tried like this, and then I just went, and I'm like, okay, I tried to wake up to wash myself, and the guy, oh, you're not good, boom, immediately. In Paris they do that. I was on vacation, and some people report my dad, I didn't grow up. Yeah, they do that. They take you there in Paris, because I guess the economy doesn't, a lot of people want to go there, and they cannot deal with that kind of ifs, you know. People go there and disrupt that city. So but they released me. In the meantime, I had 5 drawings. They stole 2, and they charged me €300 per day. They sent me, because maybe the drawings, they thought I had money in a castle place, but they gave me twice medication for no reason, and I was like this for 2 days. I stayed there a week. They call my dad asked for 3 grand for 3 days. That's 6 grand by €2. I eat a duck. I never eat a duck. It was a good day. I had a chef. €300 per day. A place of rich, you know. That room was like a gymnasium for 2 guys. And when the guy was jumping in the bed with his feet up, maybe too lazy, and I said, why are you doing that? Back then, you know, it was my 20. He says, I always hated those who don't share. It's like continuing the shit to people, because you had the shit, you're not gonna share it, and that's absolutely not me. Even if people have to know so-called, not secrets, but so-called mistake I did that are almost permanent. First of all, I guess they're not too bad to share, but if they bad, that was part of my mission. Find the truth, and I found it in Jesus, and whatever cost it was. Don't blame me for my mistake and battles along the way. Blame the devil, blame the system that you have, and blame you for not sharing Jesus and putting down the church. Whatever you work in the feds, whatever you work in school, but I'm not going to point that, because there are people who have their troubles there, and I'm pretty sure there's a fight in every institution. In school, trying to teach things good, in feds, the good ones and the evil ones, the satanic that went there by selling their soul and getting power, and the people who were there from true religion, or like God, or even by good intention of goodwill. There's a fight, just like in the White House there's a fight, and there's a fight, and that doesn't mean that even the good ones are perfect. It just means that's the best they had in that place. And we can think sometimes, you know, about Trump, maybe in these days with all the news. That's what a lot of Christians talk. But he has his down. He has his downs. Just like when I asked, hey, what about the abortion? And he said that's how we get them, meaning the votes. And another time was in a corrupt list last summer. But anyways, I came back here, and even the government, they were a check back in the month, they were still sending, and somebody was cashing it. It was just a sheet instead of the whole like 5/8 sheet, signed by hand, not by the robot, by ink. Like, who's charging and who requests that kind of check? I went to that office and asked my old IDs to make my ID back. That's how I stay a bit longer. And the woman, oh, hey, pick it at the front. And when I went, she looked at me on the side. Actually, I heard to don't even mention, 8 checks, 8,000. I said, don't even mention. I didn't, you know, being out, they might give me 3 months. You can go 3 months. Or if I had lie, I won't lie because I was not sinning. And that's it. I didn't do my taxes because for my 6-7 years here, you don't pay, on welfare. But because I work part-time, but not a lot, it's probably equal, and I don't know how to do them. And I won't lie that I didn't work and cash it, whatever it is, 300 by 10 years, three grand or 6 grand, I don't know. I could use it now, but no. I talk about the first guy who sent me some PayPal. Is not important, but bless him. I would like to use my charging battery. Look where I charge right now on a post. There's not a lot in this town. It's not Vancouver where you can charge almost everywhere. A lot of cheap stuff, It's like a lot of people in this town are corrupt with cash, but they're cheap too, and I hate it. They're cheap. They don't share. Can't plug this there. No. You go in a beautiful city, it's nice, people share, What is this? Sharing is prosperity. God will make people prosper. One time with that sport, I saw my ex, which was really went down, and I gave her $60, $80, and I didn't have to do it. And I bought her lunch. And guess what? These like the PlayStation dream suddenly so nice, and it was an exact score by basketball to win by 8. I haven't talked about it. I would where I hang out, and when I saw her the very same day, I saw myself, I think I talked, I don't know, asking money, and I had this basket, and it's like a Bucks, and there's a team Bucks, and they were playing, and I knew they were playing that the next day. The one they were winning the most this year, 2020, 2019, 2020, and with that mega star, the big guy, and it's like a buck asking, and I see those bucks, and I remember I see those bucks, which is like, but they were white, they were all $1, there were few some, and because I lost time by seeing the eggs and going along her, all the crazy abuse, Angel completely lost, well, out of her head at least, and with or without judgment of God, we don't know. All I know is that 2016 I saw her, and with all she does wrong, she was normal in spirit. But when I saw a month or two before, what was his name, that guy, and I talk about this, the Justin Bieber, his face, immature, was twisted, like a young teenage demon, not ugly, but twisted. It was distorted, the face, and that's how God can see you. That's how your spirit is. But then my ex, who does all kinds of bad stuff, not her fault. She didn't know better, man. Out of her mind, and so God, it's not by judging by you, it's by judging by your own standard, not by yourself or that person by their own standard, not by yours. So sorry for the length of this, but I'm teaching too. It's long, but all to know all these things, sometimes it takes years, sometimes it takes, and people don't share these things. The devil doesn't want to share these simple private things, but they're the same for everybody. Everybody, we heard about taxes, we heard about countries, but these things are things that everybody's going through. We heard about a lot of this and that, what the devil, the dark people do these days, following the devil. We heard about it so much today that doesn't surprise in the last 10 years by YouTube platform and other place, social media and WikiLeaks and videos, and that's okay, but it's never ending. It's good to see, but it's just gonna be replaced of one, and we know it was in the Bible too. But what in the lukewarmness happens in the battles and stuff, I think this lacks a lot. I'm pretty sure the saints talk about it, but in past words, in long sentences, and it's still attracting. It's still talking to the soul. But how many people is gonna say, "Oh, read that saint," until the church comes back? And I don't know when it's gonna come back. Probably after the war with the church, the Virgin Mary, 1,000 years. But Saint Robert Bellarmine, his thing, and how many is gonna speak and think about that? But how many is gonna say, "Did you see that movie about the Passion of Christ?" Oh yeah. I don't know. It's much more easy. So says this, and I talk about that soccer thing that happened. Happened in the news. I cannot talk about something else, which is, and then finally I talk about the dream that I had today was about that actually, and that dream, but more, it's not for everybody. That message I cannot share, and that's about it. I'm gonna take that, make a ball, a mud, not a mud, a thing. When I was in the woods last year with the sport, took a dumps in the woods, and I'm telling you, see that building there at the back? I had a dream I didn't say because at that time I couldn't share. I was just wanted, running of interpretation, and it would take long. The match would start. I would bet all day. I'll break in even or not, but all day, hundreds of bets, and especially the one I had no, what do you call this? No patience being out. It's very aggressive on the skin, and I didn't got that. When I went 1 month now, I returned, and man, slept just a day, completely different. Just like it's so easy. An hour, not even, and you rested more than before. I took a dump in that vision, in that dream, on the bottom of the building. And people, you gotta understand, I work for God, but I talk from my point of view, background, artsy and stuff. If it's not for you, if you're too holy, that's good, So I'm talking about my wide, my kind of people, and I'm not telling them to sin at all, and I'm not showing my body and do this and do that, For me, there's things to not use when I want to be holy, and that I understand. We don't want really swearing. It's not necessary. It's not from the Holy Spirit, but it happens to everybody. But we don't, not swearing, but being, needed a break. So already I swear much less than in the middle when Trump didn't share. Took a dump and I heard it's better. I said, renting a place, maybe even here. And now with the corona today, I was in downtown, buddy. You couldn't go nowhere in the washroom. They're all closed. And one other day, exactly before that, all around when I sleep with those spines, it's muddy. And I had the dream that it was shit around. I woke up, I'm like, okay, God really wants me to go. I made that video today, you're gonna see, talking about a spot, the tree passed after living with no money, and a federal came and called me from afar, little islands between river. I heard to not turn, he left. Then I changed another spot. I have message for them, and they know what happened, like doulos and all that stuff, and political. Another spot, the tree, when I'm like, is this a good spot? Another spot, rent a place, the church is built with bricks and walls. And I had this dream and this other, and guess what happens? The flood and all shit. I tried to return for going to Montreal last month, and I'm telling you, I sit down, I had a lunch, because all it's muddy dry now. Oh man, I had to shower somewhere, and now everything, oh man, I start with, you got the allergy, it's all microscopic bacteria, man. It's really insanitary. It's all the mud and bad, and it's dry there in the land. You can't sit. The grass is like gray. It's like if almost an atomic bomb would have passed there, you know, radiation, except it's mud radiation. And but if I had published that dream, it seems personal, but it's like, okay, coronavirus, even the wash one, you were not even able to do it. And there's gonna be a flood even here, that when you go in the city, people will take dump hiding with big buildings and crevices between a building maybe and the garbage point of view. So I heard I said enough. I could go on and go on, but that's enough for today, man. God bless you. Oh yeah, there's a PayPal link somebody sent, and last year, yeah, it's God said you can ask something, and I was like a German Shepherd, unfortunately, because now I understand it was like Trump. I helped him, and the bowl was empty, and he said you. But then I thought just Shepherd. Now I know better. German Shepherd. Bowl is empty. He said you can ask for things, buddy. I think I mentioned that. Nothing happened. So if somebody asking money, oh, another guy with ministry, and these guys maybe they're not poor prophets, but anybody should be asked, you know. I don't know if they all use the good money for it, but I think also especially prophets, because they're poor. And in the world, like Bush said, they need those people. Like they need that Pope Benedict. Pope Benedict has the gift of prophecy. A Pope should be a prophet. This anti-Pope Francis is not a prophet. He's not a prophet. He's not inspired by the Spirit of God, talking against the Medjugorje, like the Mother of God above all angels. And it's in the Catholic Church too, and he believes that by faith. I hope at least he's saying by faith and profess, just like any Catholics. And it's the truth. And saying that he personally don't think a place where she appear every month for people to convey, especially be feel free, but I said I don't think the mother appears at that time. She works around the clock at that time. Yeah, for you maybe around the clock. For heaven, we know a day is like nothing. And that's again why, because people will say, well, I'm gonna finally go there, and because she appears there every what is it, even me, I don't know, but I know better how to think by the Spirit of God, the simplicity, you know. Like Saint said, well, call me idiot, I'm idiot for God, and I'm well pleased. That's the important, is being good, and that means being hopeful for the best, because God is for the best. And if you're hopeful for the best, you will meet God, because God delivers. He delivers the good news, he delivers the good thing, even on this earth. But if you choose to see with the wrong eye, the left eye, you will not see them. Because already the people who try to see them, they are already trying to be blind by the enemy, and they've seen sometimes just even by trying. So imagine if you don't try. Of course you're gonna see what's in front of you by pushing away the truth, and you're never gonna see it. Just like if you don't want to read the Bible because you look around what people are corrupt and living in castle and cathedrals, well, is that an excuse in this world too? If you're gonna go about the riches and the philosopher talks and they have rewards and they live in that thing and doing movies and live in that castle and that mansion, same thing, man. Maybe even worse. I mean, worse. They were not called to be the light. They're less maybe hypocrites, but they certainly usually don't tell you, I'm evil and I do this. Sometimes they will say, I believe in the devil. God forbid they say I follow him, but they say the lies. They say it's a good thing. It's not what people say. Yeah, he might be a fool. He might be a liar. Might not talk about it. I can go on. Oh, God bless. I heard it's very enough. Okay, so if you have any question, comment below. Let's try to send me to from the rags to riches. I definitely should have continued with the guitar, man. It's at the pawn shop. I don't even know I can sing. I went to work and a Muslim punched me, sucker punched me, and maybe 20-30 fights, first time right in the nose, and it bleeds so much that now I'm breathing loud still, I think. And what a sucker punch, that motherfucker Muslim, man. See how I swear the fucking Allah is a demon, man. And it's true, God showed it to me. And I eat now. I eat, but definitely I could sing, and it's always worst if I wait more. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Definitely, I had songs. Definitely, I could sing in 2012. Then even more and even more 17. But now I think I took a downfall. But we'll see what happens. Uh, we'll see what happens. And there's comments, request something if I can make it, request whatever you need, and with or without donation, request something, if it's prayer, if it's anything that you need to request. I'm gonna try to give something and see if it's for the best or for the worst for me. And I'm gonna try because I said, God, give me one for the prophetic sports, and He gave me one, and I didn't share, and I forgot actually to share. And it was me praying in front of a statue of Virgin and God, and Jesus gave me His right hand, and then no, the Virgin Mary, and then she pointed to me to Jesus, higher than her, and Jesus tried to give me His hand, His right hand. I didn't pick because now I want a situation. And I thought it's like 4-1. So I saw a glove or something before in on other visions, like Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. But this time I was praying, and oh man, usually I don't ask. I got the dream, but I was praying for an exact score. I was praying on my knees a lot, like 2 days ago. That's why I even stay away of God since then. And but misinterpretation, man. But I ask, man, I ask. And it was the simple 2-0. two hands to 0, man. To the left, which is the visiting, and I knew they were winning that, but it was too low to bet. They were the favorites. 40%, 30% your money. So I wanted the exact score, which is 10, 20 times your money. And man, I don't want to talk about money. I heard people will think. But definitely I'm going to try to look to rent something. And I heard that all my problem will continue until I enter in the church. And if it's God, if He has a prophetic dream and He talks about sport, let him guess. But sometimes you don't understand that I have it, God shows, but He also knows that I'm not ready to see it at all. And I'm going to fail in the interpretation. And He doesn't really want me to be, okay, I don't need no more people. I can be silent, Let's say that this would happen, I would have had a jump of 1,400 and probably don't make another video for 2 months now that I made free several a day and nothing happened. And it's so ironical that the first money came, it's 10 pounds, it's nothing, but it meant the whole thing. It broke the ice. And on the 27th of April, and guess what? I checked it only, 2 May or something like this, and I pray for the guy. The guy was clean, man, no stain. Didn't even need my prayer. It was maybe better than me at that time. And I pray for his country. His country had a thick cloud of darkness, so I pray for that country. I knew because of his nickname online. And that's a gift of the Holy Spirit for sure that I had after I started to follow Him. 2010 to 11, I started to pray for some people, and it would grasp me around like a thick cloud around me, and then I would pray 3-4 Hail Marys or 3, like a minute, some 30 seconds or not, until it disappeared. And one time I did this for an old friend of mine, which is all a prepper and lost himself in New Age and traveled the world, and not only New Age and all kinds of religion except for Jesus, for the truth and humility. And this friend, which was a child friend, teenage years, and I pray for him. I let him know Saint Michael exorcist prayer. I was in that stage of studying because of vision. I had this gift, but it was very hard to enter the church because they think, oh, you have to be a priest. Not really. That's not what they say. But the people around, I was at the Catholic a printing place. That's a job. In the meantime, I'm doing my apostolate. When I told him, he's like, no, you gotta be. And that's not the truth. You can be around the priest and pray, and you can also do it. It's in the scriptural. Even if you're Catholic, look, Saint Francis, he was not a priest, and we've seen pictures of him casting devils out. Sometimes even just preaching will heal people by touching their heart. For sure, if God comes and speak with the heart, we'll not only hear, but we will feel. And that's a gift. That's a power of the Holy Spirit that I should be ashamed talking about it, because it's a gift that comes when you preach. And look, God told me it's enough, but okay, I heard that's important. It's getting better, and it's just like a guitar, it's getting better. But it's important to stay clean so it gets better and not fall back a little bit in sin or even a swearing. As I saw when I abandoned everything last year, and I was in Vancouver and took my shoes out to sleep in the cold and stuff, and I had the blanket. It's rainy there in Woog, and it was enough around my head. But even in the winter, and when I woke up, I had the face of Jesus before the stains last year started to heat, and I was like, Jesus. And one time I was in church, and I had my eyes closed after Mass, and I heard somebody, look, Jesus. And I had it because the way she was praying, but it happened to me a couple visions of that, but now I'm far away, and it's bad to say, but I could care less. And I know that some people, it's not about humility, it's just to add enough of this world. It's like, so much up and down that you almost don't care, and that's not really nice. It's like the Bible, your love at first sight is gone. You just felt so many times that you forgot when you were young, and and I'm gonna strive and do best, and that innocence love, it's gone. And some people might lose it very young by being brought up to church earlier, and being like a young skin, and you put old wine in it and it breaks. Maybe that's why Jesus hid it to me that first. Maybe it's for the artist too, to share. Maybe I had to get some money, otherwise I wouldn't to reach and missions. But me, as a squealer, he told me, a good manager but squealer, nothing never happened, man. And not only that, but all my falls almost, if not lost me credential on people or reputation, which in a sense I could care less for two reasons. If you're a priest, then you cannot play. You cannot play because now you're for the people. You take a mission, you take a position, you can't play. It's like before, okay, you were president or something, you could not take decision for the army, but then yes, you have responsibility. Same thing here. You didn't have the power before, but now you represent the church, you can't play around. You forgive before, and you forgive the world also what they do you start fresh. After that, any strike, defrock yourself, man. Especially something serious. If not, you're for the devil, man. God will forgive you, but you can't play like this. You're putting the church down, man. Any kind of, I'm not sure in the church, that's not good for people, because people who don't know about the church will look at this outside and they never come, and you hurt on long term. But in my position, all artists and stuff like this, and many days I didn't share, even Vision 10 years, but then when I came late, there was still downfalls. That when downfalls comes, and you're preaching in your ministry, and I didn't hide it. I was hoping Trump, after helping him, I put an investment, didn't pay, then the swearing. The guy didn't pay at work, I swear, I receive something about sport prophetic without even asking, without knowing you can bet on sport, or without never doing it. First thing, I did that price. He owns me 500 Canadian. He paid me half before the rushing and paint job in the weekend, 2-3 days. Didn't pay on time. I know the guy before I was in Vancouver a year, but that was not nice to return. You're outside, yeah, I'll give you Monday, I come back, work all week for me. I did his job. That was not nice. And but God gave me that when I cursed him on my way back, and waiting for money that the big boss apparently I never met will come and bring me until 12 midnight in another town, Dusty. Imagine you, and he dropped me and he called, yeah, wait, and come. So on my return, I cursed. I took the bus and cursed, and the bus that was giving Georgia winner 55 bus, put it 17 times and a half your money. But man, I could spare, I had 1,500, I could spare 1,000, but I put only 500 US, which is 350 American. And I wanted to put even more because Dream never lied to me. And I heard that that's all he can do. That's what was home to me. It got me 10 grand, and I said, okay, God, this is the investment of sharing the dream for you for 1 year. But then God told me, leave half to play and half for a place. But I had no idea for years and years. And God knows that when I did my ID, they came 2 weeks later, after years and years of not having. Even by not listening that and not rushing the ID, but by that time I think the money was almost not gone, but placed on long shots. And everything like this was new. Interpretation were strongly from the spirit symbols. I was not all ready for that. It became darker, maybe because I was a bit darker, or more cloudy because I was becoming more cloudy or corrupt a bit or not. If I would do good deeds, we know, share to get, God told me, and I should go around and give some money, man. If I got those prophetic then. And one time when I wanted to put the prophetic, God told me, yeah, tell them if they share so you can still do it. But then again, congratulations, you won Def Brown speakers. Another time when I sold my soul, but then went out, congratulations, G Illuminati, and I received the 4 signs, and I talk about the last signs, helicopter. I didn't talk it for a year, but now I repeat it because I did it once. So people in consideration knows this, knows that I talked about it finally. So maybe find another one. If they say why, or a 5th one, sign. I think I said the password. There's a password. I forgot about this. I think I said it because I actually put at least the first letter of you know, and I'm telling you, you should put a new name to it. You should put a new name to it. Well, I wanted to say a sign, but signs are bad. Signs are evil. They're attracting demons. By the time you do it, you're possessed. Just like that soccer on the 20, that game, when the guy adverse score, Managua, the guy did a sign like gang, and demon came in me. That's why you have to watch what you're watching. Even the guy, that one I wanted to say, when Jesus came in my face, I woke up. By that time, and God knew everything in advance, somebody passed in the morning, right there within 2 seconds, say a swearing, not at me. There were a couple talking before I woke up. The word F comes, face of Jesus goes from my face. To share, and God was saying, man, take your distance now. You're starting to form more, take your distance until you're more strong and making yourself finally. And because all the sickness, and so maybe, but back then I didn't know. Another time, you know, go all a Pope kind of stuff in the bathtub, and I cry, I say, no, people, you know, like the young Pope, they did that stuff. And I was showing, and I said, no, people need that stuff for war. So yeah, war is gonna happen. War is gonna happen. Maybe before you get another, we'll see. And for people who don't understand, I don't hope for war, and God doesn't hope. But God once told me, when you cannot unplug root of evil, then war is necessary. You understand? It's like to slow down the progression of evil on earth, because even without the war, we'll be more casualty of the freedom of choosing religion. Imagine if like me, and I know God is the truth and it's in Jesus, and then we get different churches, and it can be you know, corrupt or not, even in the real church, like Catholic, for example, the first one. But let's say the freedom to choose any religion you want. If this is gone, like China, atheistic, communist, and 5G following you, then imagine if there was a church or one religion, whatever religion you choose, whatever, if you're Jews, that freedom is gone. Whatever it's for you, another one, anything, you know, that thing is gone. And if you didn't know better in Jesus because you woke up and people pushed that to you, of course, I always said it, if you wanted to find truth, you will find, and you will not be blamed, but by what you knew. But if you just wanted to follow because you like what this system brought you, your parents have a high place, example in Islam, because you have 6 meals a day and everybody has 2 or 3, and you have everything, and you say, yeah, it's the truth, and you're screaming the word of a demon, Allah, in the street, before even you read the Bibles, or your scriptures, or your book, I should say, because scriptures is the holy writ of God, and that's not. And God told me Allah is a demon. And of course the demon is cunning. He will put a counter-religion, and of course that counter-religion, because he knows he would have to, he would speak against himself and prone in a demon, which is lesser than him in the hierarchy of the worst, but saying that he's God because he cannot tell them about himself. And talk against himself to that devil that he's subdued to him. So when you say that devil is great, the devil is always greater, and you just put the energy in somebody, the devil, because that devil is subject to the devil himself. He's the chief of these devils. And though even if you think that you hate the devil, but you say that Allah devil, or that Allah, and you think it's God, is great, that's not great. That's, you're putting yourself down, and you put a devil up. And of course it's going to be prone in this evil world, and more. In the West, of course, some who are corrupt and Satanists, and of course traitors will prone and do things with you, and maybe you don't know, or you were complacent because you were a chief in that Allah, whatever is a God or not. That's why there's many friction even in your clan, because some knows, oh, we're corrupt, and that's not really what religion of God should be. And in the Vatican too, that's not really how it should be. How many times when I went to the church after I converted, 2010s, I went and I wanted, normally tired and following God about the mercy, about God's gonna forgive you, but also I wanted to tell, always wanted to hear the priest saying, let's put everything together. But no, the priest wanted to, oh, it's a nice place, and no. We can't say that, it's gonna, no. Let's go, like we read in the Bible. That's why we were attracted, it was the truth. If it was not there in the Bible, that everybody put together at the beginning, we would not even have that church built like this and great. It would probably have fallen if they were corrupt. We've seen what happened when somebody's sold his possession and said to the apostle, that were the price. He dropped dead with his wife because he kept a percentage. That was, always when I read that, I'm like, come on, just a percentage he wanted to keep, he still give. But he wanted to enter there to destroy. He wanted there to plant the seed for the wolves to come and destroy that church. With him knowing that or not, with him knowing that he might be a liar, the devil were coming and trying to plug down that church by corruption. Trying to go there is like a guy who gives something, but he wants something back, and even greater with interest. I'll give you a candy, look how beautiful it is, but you're gonna give me your teeth, you're gonna go, and I own the candy factory, I'm a rich in this world, you're gonna go and pay those dentists, you're gonna pay those, and you're gonna turn around your money and pay for this, pay for that, and I don't care because I'm on the top. And eventually all the money goes on the top, so to speak, right? More you spend, more you stay down. You know, colorant, God told me, you know, in colorants, it's the cancer. And when your system is down, your soul, first what he wants to do is to calm down for your soul to be free. You want to fly with God? First you got to take your backpack off. Well, they give you a backpack They give you a backpack and a heavy backpack and a heavy backpack, I think, huh, in school. So it's the school of heart, man. God told me one time I wanted to go back for heart in school, and He showed me the class is dark and cold. I'm gonna leave you on this. My time is running out, and right now in this movie I put other ones a lot for one time. God bless you.